Wow. So, I want to start with the very first line in this song. And I don't even think of it as a lyric, to be honest. I think of it as a quote. A brilliant quote. It is a quote. Okay, so it's this. There is nothing more powerful than the human soul on fire. There is nothing more powerful than the human soul on fire. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you really felt your soul on fire? I mean, when was the last time you had ideas come to you? When was the last time you had passion flowing through you with such fierce resolve that you just had to follow it? Well, here's my answer to that. If it's not within the last 24 hours, you're slacking off. That's the truth, because that's what there is. There is so much to be jazzed up about. There is so much to be excited about in this world. So as I said, I just got back from Puerto Vallarta, and I just have to tell you, that song, I thought of that this morning, and I said it. So this song to me, this is like a Katy Perry song, Baby You're a Fireworks. You know that song? Baby You're a Fire. I think this song, we're hearing it for the first time today, ever. And I guarantee you are going to hear this song on the radio. This song is just ready to take off. Because I was in Puerto Vallarta, and I got to tell you, I can just see thousands of queens in a disco. Because I just spent the time with all of them in Puerto Vallarta. And these songs would come on the radio, on the jukebox. These songs and videos would come up, and everybody would just scream and start dancing and know every word. And I swear to God, that's going to happen to this song. I don't know when or where or how soon, but soon. Okay, and so it is. So, there's nothing more powerful than the human soul on fire. Nothing else will propel you like your heart's deepest desire. So this month is Change It Up, meaning unlimited passion. Finding the unlimited passion in your life. So the real question becomes, what's stopping you? What blocks that passion from coming through us? What is it? What's going on that somehow we haven't found the very thing that's ours to live? And or maybe we have found it, and for some reason, we just haven't attacked it. We haven't allowed it. We haven't really given our energy over to it. So, unlimited passion. And this is our 5th week for this. So, one of her lyrics, and I love this lyric. So this idea of unlimited passion, your dreams, your deepest desires, and she says, I consider it an act of treason to push it to the side. An act of treason. Think of those lyrics. I consider it an act of treason not to live my passion. What if you lived your life in such a way that you really believed that it would be an act of treason not to follow the things that come through you, not to grab those ideas when they come along and say, yes, this is mine to live. If I accused you and put you up in front of a judge and a jury, and we accused you of living up to all of your creativity, could you be guilty? Living up to all of your creativity, all of your potential, would you be guilty? Really? You've lived up to all of your potential, all of your creativity, all of your passion. And if I accuse you of that, the jury is going to say, yeah, they've used it all up. They've done everything possible. Yeah, So, I consider it an act of treason to push it to the side, to live and not have tried. Because I know you're unlimited. And I love that she says this. You're unlimited. Here's the thing about Margaret Owens. She's a brilliant lyricist. She writes amazing songs for the New Thought community by not trying to write New Thought songs. Think about it. Many people write New Thought songs, and they always end up being kind of, I love you, you love me, love is here, love is there, love is everywhere. And that's all beautiful, and I know, and I'm not making fun of anyone who writes those things, sort of. But it's hard to follow that up with a talk. It's like, yeah, get it, love is everywhere, and thank you, good night. She writes things like, I consider it an act of treason if you don't live up to who you are, right? And then she says, you have both the power and the means. Well, that's what we teach. You are the power, and by being the power, you have the means to live that power out loud, to really live yourself out loud. You don't have to find the means. You don't have to find, if you're an actor, find the right agent. If I hear one more actor say, as soon as they get the right agent, their career will go up, take off. I mean, like, why not? You should just get into a production of No Exit. That's the actors that got that. Where you're just sitting there waiting for life, forever. No, it's not. The means are right here. Actually, the means are right here. When you're clear, everything happens. When you're certain, when you're absolute, when you are steady and solid in your life and who you are, everything comes to you, because that's the law of attraction. What you are equal to comes to you. So it's that simple. You have the power and you have the means. She says, you have the power and the means to live life uninhibited. You came to realize your dreams. So the question becomes, if you and I both we all came here to live our dreams, what's the problem? And that's the other thing I love about Margaret Owen's lyrics. She gives you the problem and then she tells you her idea of the solution. And she just happens to be right with this one. She happens to be right in alignment with Ernest Holmes. What is the problem? What's the problem? Why are we not living up to our dreams? What's really going on? And so she says this, the way is very clear. Release yourself from fear. Release yourself from fear. How many of you have fear? Fear in whatever area of your life. Right, we all have fear. Well, what is fear? Well, actually, to be honest, fear is an illusion. Fear doesn't really exist. Fear is what we have done with our minds, projecting something into the future that we are now afraid of. That's what fear is. Because in this moment, fear does not exist. I have just created it based on something relative, probably, out there that has come along and given me something to think about that's causing fear to creep into my experience. But it's a man-made thing. It's something I'm creating. It doesn't really exist, because all that really exists is love. Love. Fear is just a misuse of the creativity of love of my mind. I do have a little problem with heights. Anybody else have a problem with like really high places? Like if you look down, it's like your waist down disappears. So I was standing on the edge of the building, and I was listening to this whole thing about fear, and I've really been thinking a lot about this concept of fear, especially since I'm going to be jumping out of a plane on June 2nd. I've been thinking about, I know, but I've done a really good job with this fear thing over the last week or so. So I'm standing at I didn't even talk about this. So I'm in Puerto Vallarta. So when I get to Puerto Vallarta, I'm like, where am I going? What do I want to tell you first? I'm so excited. So I went on vacation to Puerto Vallarta. Y'all got that, right? So, but I wasn't sure I wanted to even go, because it was going to interfere in the flow of my life. I was like, 5 days, I got to cancel classes. Do I really want to go? As if Kevin was ever going to let me not go. So I didn't really share that with anybody. I just sat with it myself. And then I went, no, I'm going. We agreed to go. And Scott and Jose, who are members of our center, they invited us to this gorgeous condominium they bought, which is a penthouse condominium in Puerto Vallarta in the center of town. And I hadn't really given it much thought about how gorgeous this could possibly be. I'd never been to Mexico. So we get there, we go up in the penthouse, and we open the door and walk into this gorgeous penthouse, all glass, with nothing but ocean. That was it. And I was like, I was going to stay home. Wow. And it was just so breathtakingly beautiful. But there was a balcony that when you went out to it, it was a long way down. And I remember standing there, and of course I remember, it was 2 days ago. I was standing there, and I was like leaning over, and I didn't feel that thing that I usually feel, which is really a lot of anxiety. I was just like, no, I really get this concept. Fear is me projecting something that might happen. Fear is not me standing here looking at this breathtaking image. Fear is not this how high I am, the consciousness of how high I am. Fear is me thinking I could press against this just hard enough and it would give way and I would plummet to my death. now I'm afraid. Right? And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what it would take to, how much weight would really need to be exerted. And I thought, probably shouldn't test this out to see how much weight it's going to take to press this off of the roof. But I really got it. I got this concept of what fear is all about. It really is our willingness to take our minds into the future and project something. Not the truth. Project something. Now, first of all, why would you want to use your mind that way? Why would we want, and why do we? Why do we use our minds in a way that freaks us out and starts giving us all these things to be afraid of? So, Will Smith said this about fear. He said, fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may never exist. He says that is near insanity. He goes on to say, do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. Danger is real, but fear is a choice. So that makes perfect sense to me. Danger is real. It is real that if I really press hard enough against this panel of glass, it will probably break and I will probably plummet to my death, albeit in a beautiful place to die. That's true. That's a danger. That's possible. But is it real? Is it real? Is fear real? No, it's not. That's the projection of it into the future. I got that so clearly, and I started thinking about jumping out of a plane. And he talks about this story. Actually, I was looking at this because this is the thing that Suzanne Benoit sent me, where he talks about having to jump out of a plane and how he was absolutely like nauseous a week before. And then every day he would wake up with anxiety, knowing that in 6 days, in 5 days, in 4 days, in 3 days, I'll be jumping out of, in 2 days, I'll be jumping out of a plane. In 1 day, I'll be jumping out of a plane. Now I can't even eat dinner. Now I can't fall asleep because it's tomorrow morning. Now I wake up in the morning. I can't even get out of bed. I finally get out of bed. They stuff me into a car. I'm driving sick the whole time. This is him telling this story better than I'm doing it. I'm sick all the way there. I get up in the plane and I'm still thinking, why should I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. They take him and get him ready to go out of the plane. He's holding on to the sides of the plane. The plane is shaking. He's freaking out. He said, I was feeling like I was going to throw up, and they pushed me out. He said, and in that moment, everything stopped. I was no longer afraid. And he said it was the most blissful, amazing feeling he has ever had in his whole life. And he has this quote, which is one of the quotes you find if you look him up, and it's this: on the other side of your fear are the best things in life. Now just think about that for a minute. On the other side of fear are the best things in your life. No, I don't know that I agree with that, but it's a great concept. That on the other side of any fear are these amazing things, things that we're afraid of, things that we're terrified we wouldn't be equal to or up to. And we start thinking about what could go wrong instead of what can go right. So I am going to jump out of that plane, and I'm very excited about it at this moment anyway. So I do have a story for you. The title of my talk is Upside Down, Unlimited Passion Side Down. So when we got to Puerto Vallarta, Kevin had scheduled a day called a day of adventure. And I kind of just let them all plan it. They're all talking about it, and I'm like, and this is something you shouldn't do. Don't be passive in your life. Don't let everybody talk about what you're planning on doing without asking what it is. So it's a day of adventure, and the night before the day of adventure, I was like so into Puerto Vallarta, and I just loved it. The food, our first night, if anybody saw the Facebook picture, our first night on the beach, the table was in the ocean. It was that. In fact, the ocean came up to our feet by dessert. It was such a gorgeous, everything was perfect. And I'm thinking, day of adventure. They're saying you're gonna need a lot of energy. I'm like, oh, I came here to not have energy. I came here to be relaxed. And so, but again, I didn't say all that. I just got up the next morning and went on our day of adventure. So here's our day of adventure. First, it was a 45-minute drive in an open back truck. So you get into a truck, and there's like 2 rows of us holding on to tether straps. Am I exaggerating? This is it, right? Good. Let me know when I start exaggerating. So I'm holding this thing, and we're in this truck, and if you know Mexico, the streets are all like stones. So it's like, poof, 45 minutes of this. This was our beginning of our day of adventure. And so, but I actually didn't mind that, because I actually saw a lot of Mexico I probably wouldn't have seen with that perspective. So then we get to where we're going, and it is a zip lining. And so it's like a session of zip lining. Now, many of you know I already had my zip lining anxiety attack in Alaska. So I'd already been through that. I knew I was going to be fine with zip lining. Go ahead and tie me into those tethers, and I'll be fine. I know I'm not going to die. So they put us in all of the stuff. And then something I wasn't expecting in our day of adventure was you are now to get on a donkey and ride it up the mountain to the top of the mountain. Have you ever been on a donkey? I'm sure you have, Nada. You've been on a donkey, yes. But I have never been on a donkey. I've never thought I wanted to be on a donkey, to be frank. So they bring the donkey, and they call me first. They're like, James, why don't you take the first donkey? I thought, well, they know I'm the spiritual leader, so I should go first. So I get on the donkey, and I thought I got on it very expertly. I flipped that leg around, and I was like, I'm on the donkey. So I'm on the donkey, and they teach you pull back to stop the donkey, or take it this way and it'll go that way, take it this way, it'll go that way, and then kick it, which I thought was a little inhumane, but kick it if you want it to go faster, as if anyone's going to kick it. And say, yeah, go faster. So it starts to go, but I'm thinking, don't go, no one else is on their donkey, and I'm pulling the... And I didn't even notice that the guide had already left, and I was supposed to be traveling behind it. And I'm choking this thing, and the poor horse is like, and I'm like, stop it. In English, so it knows not what I'm saying. Yeah, stop it. I should be saying alto, right? No? All right, soprano, whatever. So then the woman who's way up the hill now, she goes, you're supposed to be following me, let him go. I was like, oh, I let it go? And it's like, and this donkey takes off. And so now I'm all the way up the hill. And so it's pretty cool now, I'm okay, and other donkeys are coming behind me. But then I start to realize I'm in a donkey that probably has that type A personality, like I do. And the universe, talk about the law of attraction. I attracted a donkey whose sole purpose was to not let anyone past him. So these donkeys are trying to come by, and he's like, boom, but my body is with him as we're going this way, and we're knocking that donkey off. And people are yelling at me, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything. It's just taking me. So we're until we get 3/4 of the way up the hill, and it gets a little tired. And again, just like me, I was exhausted. And it sort of slows down, and a couple donkeys pass by, and I can feel this donkey going, whatever. And so then we get to the top. Remember, this is the beginning of the day of adventure. So we're at the top of the hill. I get off the donkey. I thank it for an enjoyable ride. And then we start going towards where we're going to zip line. But to get there, you have to cross a bridge over this ravine that's like a really thin little thing of rickety pieces of wood that every time you step on it, the whole thing moves. Now, I am an expert tightrope walker, so I was not going to have a problem with this, except the tightrope's taut, and the whole thing's like this. And then, I forget who was behind me, I think Jose, who likes to go on and scare people. He's like, ah! And I'm flying all over the place. And he's laughing, and I'm having my beautiful day of adventure. And I was having fun at this point. So then we go ziplining, and the ziplining was amazing. It really was. Being in the wilderness like that, and being part of the oneness, and the freedom you feel as you're zipping, as you're going by. There's really not a lot of fear. Fear has been left behind. And even when it comes up, it dissipates instantly with the understanding of there's more here to know, there's more here to experience. So, Gambit, you almost ready? So we get to the last one. Okay, so that's me on your left. Kevin's on your right. So we get to the last one, and they say, would you like to do this one upside down? I'm like, what? he said, yeah, look. And I look down, and I see the other people going upside down. So Kevin's like, yeah, we're going to do it upside down. We're going to do it upside down. And I'm like, honey, okay, whatever. So I just thought, you know what? Why not? Why not do it upside down? And so here's the thing. Here's what happened to me on this trip that has never happened before. My cognizant mind, I literally let go of. I was like, I'm not going to think about this. I'm just going to do it. So I got up, threw my legs up, and then they said, all right, let go. That was a little harder. When you're upside down holding, they would just let go, and you just let go, and you fall backwards, and then you start to zip. And it was unbelievable. It really was unbelievable. And I was laying upside down, going through. Could you go to the next picture? Is there one more? Oh, yeah, there it is. And I just started laughing at how I have spent my whole life right side up, thinking that that's what life was supposed to be lived like. That life is supposed to be lived from a from a from a vertical perspective, right? That life is supposed to be lived the way they tell you to live it. Why would you go upside down? Well, maybe to see a different perspective. Maybe to see the world in a different way. There's a third picture, which I didn't put in here, where I grab my head and hold and pull it up, because as I'm upside down, I didn't want to look at the ground. I wanted to look at the sky. And literally, when I looked up, I felt like I was flying. The clouds were like right above me, and I just felt like I am flying through the air. And I just had this whole concept of life switch. It just all changed for me. We had done this part of the adventure where we went, right after that, where we went, what's that called, rappelling down a waterfall. And, you know, I looked at the waterfall and I thought about my fear of heights, but I didn't have a fear of heights in that moment. I was like, wait a minute, you are afraid of heights. Why are you standing at the top of this waterfall, like saying, come on, get me down there? I was like so excited about all this. Fear, in that moment, in this whole trip, that whole day, fear became such an illusion. Fear became something that used to be and no longer was. And that out of the way, having it out of my way, I was ready to jump into anything. It was like, as her song says, I was unstoppable. I felt like I could do anything at that point. And then they get you to the very last thing, which is a water slide. To end it, you got to come all the way down the mountain on a water slide. And I don't mind water slides. However, they gave you arm braces and then a helmet with a huge hockey mask. And I looked at the person and I said, I'm curious. Why the hockey mask? What is it you're protecting and from what? He said, well, it's just if you flip over, you know, you don't want to smash your face up. I was like, okay. I said, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I don't want to do the water slide. And I said something to that effect as a joke, and he went, there's no other way down. I went, okay, we're done. So I put the hockey mask on, and I get in, and here's what happened. Fear grabbed me again for a second. And I went, no. Actually, I said, no. I said, no. Nada. Is that it, Nada? Nada. Nada. So I just, and I have a video of that, which I'll show someday, of me going, let's do it. And I was like, do I believe him? So I just let go, and I let go. You know when you feel like your whole body you've let go, and your body's just limp? I just let go. And I am going down, and I flipped, and I smashed the side of it at one point, and I did think for a minute, I was like, what have I broken? Well, find out when I get down there. And I didn't break anything, but I did get a big scrape on my hip. And I'm showing everybody for the rest of the day, look what happened. I got a bruise. So, now, I don't want this to run on forever. So, last thing about fear, not the last thing about fear, but, so fear, I don't want you to think that fear is completely unusable, because it's not. Fear shows up for a very good reason. You just have to be willing to listen to it. You have to be willing to say, what is this thing called fear? Ernest Holmes says, what then is fear? Nothing more or less than the negative use of faith. a belief in two powers instead of one. But there is a power for good in the universe. There's not a power for good and ziplining. There's not a power for good and fear. There's just a power for good. So fear is when you believe there are two powers. The power to be successful, or the power to fail, the power to be sick, the power to be safe, the power to not be safe. No, none of it. There's one power. There's a power for good. That's who you are. That's who I am. The rest of it, all illusion. So, fear is important so long as you let it inform you, not take you over. Do you get the difference? When it takes you over, you have suddenly stepped behind a veil and there's not a lot of life to live there. But it can inform you. And this is the last piece of this. So it can inform you so much so that the next day we did a 45-minute hike through the mountains that led us to a restaurant that was in this gorgeous cove. So we go down to the cove to go swimming, and we're all ready to go swimming. I think there were about 8 of us. And there was a bunch of sea foam that was kind of brown. And I thought, I don't really want to swim through brown sea foam. Why is it brown? Where's the brown coming from, and where are the donkeys right now? So it's like, So I'm not quick to jump in the water to swim. I've touched it to my feet, but the rest of them are going swimming. And Kevin looks at me and says, are you going swimming? I was like, no. He says, you know what, I'm not going to go either. So we don't, and Gary Lynn Floyd, who was with us, he said, I'm not going swimming either. So about 5 of them go swimming. Where is Maria? Maria, I had you in my ear at this point. So at one point, like there, I can see them just about to hit this little mountain, this little rock, it's a rock. And Kevin says, look at this. So me, him, and Gary, we look down, and we see this huge jellyfish. And we look down, we look at each other, we look out to the boys who have all swum into jellyfish water, because there's all these jellyfish swimming in the water. And right before I left church last Sunday, Maria grabbed me and she went, don't go swimming. Jellyfish, right? Didn't you say that to me? I heard her in my ear saying, don't go near the jellyfish. So all the guys came back, and as they came back in, I said, did you guys see the jellyfish? They're like, yes, we've all been stung. They were all stung by jellyfish. They all got out of the water, and they were like, yep, we all got stung. So here's the thing. They're all fine, yes. They're in the hospital. No, they're all fine. They're all fine. It's just, it stings you. I didn't have it happen, so I can't really explain it to you. But apparently, the next day when they woke up, and I was like, do y'all still feel it? And they went, yes. But it feels like little pricks or something on you, little, I don't know, whatever. It's their problem. They went in the water. So, but what I mean is that fear, while it's an illusion, there's something to it. Allow yourself to hear it, to feel it, to understand it, ask why it's there, and then see what's behind it. What's beyond it. That's real, not what's behind it. You're behind it. See what's beyond it, because that's really the deal. So, without fear, there's only love. And I want to give you a heads up, since tomorrow is May 1st, our month of May is going to be dealing with this, love only. We are going to really sink into this understanding of love only. And it's perfect coming out of Change It Up, and perfect coming out of a talk about fear. If you can take your fears, and you can put them in perspective, and you can release those fears, find out why they're there, because they may tell you they're there because there's some core beliefs in you that need removing. A lot of fear turn into core beliefs that stop us. So you're going to have an amazing month in month of May of finding out what does it mean to really just love, to love only. So Margaret, would you come up? Band, can I have the band back up here? Did they all leave? Yes. So, Bobby, come on up. Margaret, hop up for a second. So, I did this morning, and I wasn't sure I wanted to do it tonight. Margaret's like, oh.
I don't know Love Only, that song.
No. No. You'll know it soon. The band here? Where are they? Come on in, guys. Come in. So, I don't usually take a song and tear it apart like that with so many words, with so many lyrics. But when I do, I'd like you to hear it again, because I'd like you to hear it from a different perspective. So, you ready? And can you do me a favor, Gamba? I need you to pump her up higher so that you really hear every word she's about to sing. That means you have to know the lyrics.
I did really good the first time, so let's just hold me in consciousness. And it is so.
Ready? And if you want to stand and dance and listen and let your queen out, just let your
Get sexy with it.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
There's nothing more powerful than the human soul on fire. Nothing else will propel you like your heart's deepest desire. I put it there for a reason. I consider it an act of treason to push it to the side, to live and not have tried. Listen to how you talk to yourself in the mirror. Better to close your eyes and go inside to see things clearer. I promise you a pure perfection. How about focusing on that reflection? The waves bury clear. Release yourself from fear. I know you're unlimited. You've got both the power and means to live life uninhibited. You came to realize your dreams. This is your life. Go on, go out and live it. Change it up, get sexy with it.
Okay, y'all feel it now? And so it is. So